In this video, I will confess 10 things I wish I knew when I was in my 20s. You see, when you're younger, you're always chasing the dream to be the best version of yourself. And sometimes I was very confused in my younger years. I was very confused what to do, how to do, sometimes just winging it on the health part, on the money part, on the relationships part. So I thought to myself, if I had to pen down to my younger self the 10 Gyan rules from Ryan to himself, these would be them. So today I'm looked upon as a successful celebrity nutritionist, an entrepreneur and a businessman. If you went deep dive into my 20s, I would be studying, like many of you. I remember I was in Scotland. I jumped out of an aeroplane, skydived. I thought that was the greatest thing in life. But success is not only moments of revelry, moments of excesses, but also careful planning. And I wish I could go back and tell myself to plan a little bit better, to get the cup of success or to get life on hand faster, quicker, better in the earlier years. And there was a blueprint I feel that I can share with my own self. I want to share this blueprint with you. So let's go. So the first thing that I would advise my younger self, network. Don't be shy. The people you meet in college, the people you meet in stores, the people you meet at work, the people you meet on flights. You see, you got to talk to people because you never know who will be a friend, a colleague, a help, a networking ability to take you to the next level. I still remember one of my friend's father, who was a leading lawyer, helped me get my first PG accommodation. And because I would talk very nicely to my friend's father, when I decided to move to a new city in India, he said, "Don't worry, I have friends in that city. I will help arrange for you to get your PG accommodation." Yes, I did stay in a PG. So networking and building relationships doesn't start when you're an old fuddy-duddy like me at 48. It starts when you're young. And I'll tell you one secret. Whenever I travel, I'm always not looking at my phone. I'm always looking to talk to the person next to me, whether it's in a bus, it's in a taxi, it's in an airline, or it's at the airport, or the bus station, or the railway station. I'm always engaging people with conversation. So you really don't get successful or famous later in life. You get successful and famous when you start practicing at a very young age. So start networking. This would be the first tip I would give my younger self, because sometimes I thought I was too snooty to be able to talk to somebody else, or I was too shy to be talking to somebody else. So break the barriers, because you know success is just around the corner when you learn how to deal with people and say hi to them and network with them. Point number 2. Now, if you're going to be networking and making a lot of friends, a lot of contacts, a lot of colleagues in your first job or in your academia, learn to say no. The reason is people out there are also networking with you, and it's a two-way street. Sometimes you have to assess the value of networking and the relationship that you're trying to build. Yes, many a times you will have to give. Therefore, you need to say yes. But if you keep giving, you are limited to 24 hours in the day, and you have certain goals of your own to accomplish. If you're setting aside your goals or your timetable or your schedule to please other people, then the art of learning to say no is crucial. This is a weakness I had when very young. My boss would keep stuff on my table and I would never know how to say no. I would just say yes, 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 yes. But learning to say no, but not rudely, but just saying, I have the following 5-6 things I've committed to. Can I finish those and get back to you and help you out with what you need? But sometimes just saying no will get you to the next level of success. So learn to say no. My third point is continuous learning. Now, when I was already pursuing a master's degree in clinical biochemistry, I got an opportunity as a Commonwealth scholar to go to Scotland and study. And I was a little bit pompous, and I told my father, "Who wants another master's degree?" And my dad said to me, "Today you're pompous, but tomorrow you will realize the value of education." So continuous learning is very easy in today's world. You see, in my time, we had to go to the library and we had to go through all the author cards, pull it out, go and find that book on a shelf. Guys, you have Google, you have podcasts, you have so much stuff. Continuous learning. I would be constantly hunting and searching for things that would make me a better human being, a better thinker, maybe a better business person, or in the job function that I am. So if I'm a nutritionist, I always say this. I'm constantly reading something because I'll say, oh, what will I tell that person in the counseling if I read this? So then I read it from a perspective of learning to disseminate information. Therefore, my advice is become a producer of knowledge. But how do you produce knowledge? It's only when you become a consumer of continuous learning. So this is my advice to anybody and everybody, and you're never too old or never too young to continuously learn. The day you stop learning, I feel that you get dead. And even till today, I would go back and hammer up my younger self saying, you're not doing enough. You should be learning more. Go to the library more, read more. And when I was there at 1998 in my 20s, the computer's Netscape just came out. For those of you who are old and watching this, you know what Netscape is. Today it's Google Chrome, but those days with Netscape, we had the dial-up. We had to wait for the dial-up to happen, right? You guys have got 28 Mbps, 100 Mbps today. So click a button, boom. So the next thing Elon Musk is doing is putting a chip in the head, and continuous learning is over because everything just downloads to the chip. But till such time, keep learning. My fourth point actually is a second journey for me. You see, I did martial arts when I was young, specifically Shotokan Karate. I reached one belt before my black belt and I gave up. And recently, 2 years ago, I restarted my karate in another discipline called Shitoryu. And it is so difficult to get back to peak fitness, get my next belt. My body is screaming and crying at me. And one day when I finished a class, I was sweating, I was hurting. And I was like, in my younger years, this was so easy. I could really do my karate well. Where am I going with karate? Consistency. Consistency to take up something. White belt, orange belt, green belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown 3, brown 2, brown 1, and then a black belt. And you don't stop at a black belt. You go black 1, black 2, and you go all the way up to 10 Dan in black. It's amazing how martial arts gives you that ability of mental grit. What if I could have taken that and translated into my job, into my learning, into my relationships? So for example, if you turn up at the gym as a youngster, be consistent. If you're eating healthy food, be consistent. If you're going to work and you're working hard and you're using your brain, be consistent. Don't have one day as a high and one day as a low. Remember, whatever you do, you may think that your parent is rewarding you, your karate sensei is rewarding you, your God is rewarding you, your fellow colleague is rewarding you, maybe your friend is rewarding you. Nobody is rewarding you. You reward yourself. And how do you know you reward yourself? By being consistent, because you know you're paying yourself your own currency of success. And this is something that has held true for me for a very long time. I don't look outwards for reward dependence or affirmations or pat on the back. Just get consistent and tell yourself, if I'm consistent, every day I have a trophy of winning on consistency. Pick up a task, be consistent, is my advice to you. My next point is money. Something that I wish I could go back and smash my face with because I was a spendthrift. I didn't have enough of money, and the little money I had, I constantly spent. I still remember my first salary. I still have the Lee denim jacket. I bought it for 1,500 rupees. Till today, I've told my wife, don't throw it out. It's to constantly remind me, ki boss, you were a fool to have put 1,500 rupees in a denim jacket. You should have put that in a savings account, an FD. In my time, I remember I did buy 100 Bank of India shares, which I still have till today. Where's my point? Even if you have 100 rupees, save 5 rupees of the 100 rupees. That's really important. It's not because of the size. Nahin, kal I will do money saving when I have a 1 lakh salary, then I will save 10,000 rupees. This is what I would go back and tell myself. I need to get the discipline of saving. It's almost as simple as, oh, I give you a glass of water and I tell you, don't drink the full glass of water. Leave 10% of the glass. You'll be like, Arey bhai, today I'm very, very thirsty. No, let me drink the full glass. That was me spending money. But had I left 10% of that glass, I would have developed the strength to save consistently. So nobody taught me to save. And I read books and heard about people saying save, save. Fellow colleagues told me to save. One of my bosses says, why don't you open a public provident fund? I'm like, dude, I don't even have money to pay my PG and do all of this stuff. But you're asking me to save. I think I would say this to myself. I want you to press the button to save irrespective of the amount. Whether it's 1 rupee, 10 rupees, 100 rupees, 1000 rupees, 10,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees. Press the button to save consistently every month. Because I think when you reach your 30s and 40s, you will understand that financial freedom gives you a sense of calmness to focus on the other goals I'm talking about. So my next point is about self-care, the physical plane and the mental plane. Now, if I go back into my younger years, the physical plane, I did do martial arts, but then I abruptly stopped it when I got my first job. I had to actually choose between my first interview here in Bangalore, where I live currently, with a leading nutraceutical company, and it was my dream job, and I had to go for my black belt exam. It was gut-wrenching because I had done martial arts for 8 years. So when you talk about self-care in the physical plane, you have to sleep well, eat well, and exercise well. So if I went back to my formative years of working, I completely offloaded a physically fit lifestyle and went into junk food. I did drink a lot at the younger years. You're partying, you're getting a new salary, going out with colleagues. So there was no focus on the self-care. Now that's something I would have continued. Maybe if I'd found the time or I found the desire and gumption to get at it, then I would have continued in the physical plane, keeping my body fitter in my younger years. With regards to the mental plane, you see, you go through this phase in life, especially in your 20s and 30s, like most of us are looking for that better half. So you're constantly saying, will I find the woman of my dreams? Or will I find the man of my life? So this doubt is there in everybody. It was there in me. And I think the mental plane gets bashed up when you're constantly trying to live for somebody else. So I would tell myself to invert into myself or go back into myself and not be too concerned in the mental plane about what the world thinks, what my then girlfriends thought about me, or what my parents thought about me, or what my colleagues thought about me. But come internally and begin to take care of your thought process. And how can you do this? It's very, very simple. Write down who you want to be, what you want to be, what are your values, what would you like to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. I actually was convinced by one of my mentors and bosses to actually write down the 100 goals of my life. Till today, I still have those 100 goals of my life. I've completed, I think, about 45 of those goals. Some of them were very stupid, like jumping out of an aeroplane, which I actually did skydiving. And one of them I've still not yet accomplished, which is my dream car when I was very young was a Porsche 911. Now today, as an older person, I will go back and slap myself. Kya baat karta hai yaar? What 911? You first buy one car with 4 tires on it. But don't have the high lofty goals and not have the lofty goals for your self-care. I think your body is the most expensive real estate. So instead of focusing on jumping out of a plane or getting that Porsche 911 and killing myself mentally and physically, I should have focused more on developing a Porsche 911 inside of me. So this is my advice to everyone. Keep self-care is really, really important. And if you need any help, me and my team will reach out to you and send you a blueprint of how you could get to the next level in terms of planning, what to do for your sleep, what to do for your diet, what to do for your exercise program, what to do for your mental peace of mind. My next point, number 7, I think, on the list, and 7's my lucky number, I've got to tell you this one. I wish I knew this when I was younger. The power of the mind. And people call it the law of attraction. And my team over here even knows how powerful my law of attraction is. But I didn't have it. I was this kid who thought I was unlucky. I was this kid who thought I was poor. I was this kid who thought I could always come last. I was this kid who thought I'll always have the worst luck in the world. And some of it comes from conditioning, okay? From what you hear in your family and your environment. My advice to you is this. Stop. Tell yourself that just because you were born on this planet, you are already lucky at this time in your life. You've got AC, you've got electricity, you've got clothes, you've got food, you've got a roof over your head, you're extremely lucky. So that's taken care of. The law of attraction is this. My cup is half full. I'm so happy I have a half cup of black tea. Oh, my cup is almost empty. See the difference? When you look at the negatives in life of everything, you're stuck in a traffic jam. Oh my God, I'm stuck in a traffic jam. Yeah, but you got AC in your car. You got Netflix on. Or you're watching my podcast stuck in a traffic jam. Look at that as a glass being half full. In moments in life, whenever things happen negatively, look at the positive. You start doing this for at least 6 to 8 months, you suddenly will start seeing fortune shift for you. It's not easy. It doesn't happen like, oh, I want 10 lakh rupees right now and it's going to come tomorrow morning. No, it doesn't work that way. I thought it worked that way. It took me about a decade to build mental resilience to vibrate my thought process as one of gratitude and having a lot of abundance. So I would go back and give thoppat to my 21-year-old self saying, boss, stop thinking negatively. Use your brain to vibrate to the next level. Think positive thoughts. Like for example, don't think of pink elephants. What are you thinking? Pink elephants. Don't think of pink elephants. I should have said, think of a beautiful large Indian elephant. And you would have been like, oh wow, I'll think of a beautiful large Indian elephant. But the previous statement was what? Don't think of pink elephants. So you thought pink in your heart. How can elephants be pink? How is it possible? So the mind is very finicky. You got to train your mind. And how do you train your mind? Meditation, breath work. I've started doing a little bit of meditation, a little bit of breath work, but always constantly being in a gratitude mode in whatever that happens. Even shooting this video right now, I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to present what I would tell my younger self. So get sharper in thinking more positively, get more relaxed in thinking abundantly. My next point is going to echo with a lot of us today is movement. You got to move more. You got to walk more. You got to exercise more. You got to dance more. Trust me, if you get to an age where you will be able to sell your company, maybe in your 30s or 40s, and you want to go dancing, do you know your ankles don't move that easily, your hips don't move that easily? It's quite difficult. So movement, exercise, yoga, Pilates, please shorten one Netflix episode every day and hit the gym, hit the Pilates studio, go to the yoga studio, go and do running in the park, go and meet people. We are not meeting people. I think I would go and tell myself to have gone and spent a little bit more money going to 2 gyms instead of 1 gym. So I could meet more people. I could network. I could work out. I could have physical movement. I could feel the release of endorphins and feel happy. I think I moved too little in my younger years. And I think if I had done more of that in my younger years, I would have met more people, been much more happier, much more successful, and probably had more opportunity. But you know what? For me, the glass is always full. So I am giving you this advice that at the age of 48, when I try and work out 6 to 7 days a week, my body does complain the next morning like it is today after yesterday's leg workout. So when you're younger, take a latte and tell your body, I am the master. I am going to tell you to move, and you better well move. But you know what? If you're a little bit on the lower side of exercise intensity, walking and yoga are the best things you can do in your life. This point I had to talk about. It's my subject matter and I could talk for hours on it. But you are the most expensive real estate on the planet. And if you are a dash vehicle, like I think I'm a Porsche 911 or a Rolls Royce, the SUV Rolls Royce, I would be like, wow, how would I clean that vehicle? How would I park it? How would I ride it? How would I fill fuel in that car? High octane fuel. So think of your body as the most expensive real estate. And if your body is the most expensive real estate, how will you feed it? So whilst you have a job in your younger years, whilst you have disposable income, whilst you don't have mama, papa sitting at the dining table with you, I would encourage you to eat healthier, order nutritiously, look at organic food, and be more proactive in hunting down your fruits and vegetables as you live in your 20s and 30s. Because fruits and vegetables can really help you not grow older. And when I meet youngsters, you're all about alcohol and partying and reveling. Please do that. But parallelly, invest in great nutrition as an insurance premium against the revelry that you do in today's world. So here's my quick tip. Understand what works for you. For example, you want to know whether gluten or milk agrees with you. Go for 10-15 days without it. Check your resting heart rate. Check your skin. Check your bowel movement. If they all begin to improve without eating those foods for 10 to 30 days, then you know that food is a thumbs down for you. So start finding out which are the foods which are thumbs up for you, bio-individually good for you, which are the foods which are thumbs down for you. You can also invest in some food intolerance blood tests and genetic tests to help you get to the next level, because I know many youngsters, including some of my friends who are very young, and they are investing in expensive watches, expensive bikes, expensive laptops, but when it comes to dal chawal roti, they're kind of winging it. Maybe kind of seismically shift your thinking and say this to yourself: my body is the most expensive real estate. What do I need to not dress it up with? Not fashionable statements. What do I need to fashionably put into my body, wherein my body says, bhai, manzoor hai. My final point, which I have a lot of regret, is I should have built more relationships. Not only externally with more people, but I think I should have built more relationships with my family. You see, in the 20s to 30s, you're like, I've got to earn this money, I have to get this job, I have to get this promotion, I have to go here, I have to travel there, my boss wants this, my colleague wants this, I got this deadline for this project. And in the process, a phone call comes. Khana khaya? Mummy, I'm very busy right now, don't talk to me for the next 3 days. Talk. Your parents brought you up for 20 years. I see my mom and dad, they're in their late 70s. And I try and make it a point to call them and just say, hi, how are you doing, and stuff like that. And I can see that the expectation from them was me to kind of talk to them. Because I have an 11-year-old now, and when I go home, I'm like, hi, Ken, how are you? And he's like, he's on his video game. And I'm like, if he only looked at me and said, hi, Dad, how's your day? So I'm kind of realizing that if I give advice to my younger self, so I'm thinking if I give advice to my younger self, I would have asked myself to kind of, when mom or dad called, to just spend 2 minutes on a call with them. All they want to know is, are you well? Are you eating well? Did you sleep well? That's what every parent asks. And you know what? They have no other conversation to have with you, but they just want to know, are you well? You can do this in a rude way with your parents. You're like, yeah, sab theek hai, everything's good, put the phone down. But my advice to my younger self would be, spend 5 minutes with mom, spend 5 minutes with dad. It's 10 minutes whilst you're doing something, gardening, exercising, working out, walking. But give your parents that I love you call once a day, because they brought us up and all they want to know is, are you well? And they want to hear your voice because they do miss you. And whilst you may not be missing your parents when they are not there with you and you're busy making your career and getting successful, I think our parents are our biggest fans. So I'm going to go and get calling with my parents right now and say, hi mom, hi dad, how are you doing? Do that right now, because if this video doesn't convince you on any of the points, at least have a great relationship with your parents.